What's up, guys? Stefan with you, S&E's Garage. Behind us we have our 2016 GSF, and we are going to talk common F-car problems and things you need to do to maintain your Lexus F-car for the long term. Alright guys, so if you are looking to pick up a Lexus F-car, or you just got one and you're starting to do some research and you want to figure out what you need to do to keep these cars running, or things you need to look out for, this is going to be the video for you. So if you have an RCF, a GSF, an ISF, an IS500, or an LC500, definitely keep watching. So under the hood of all of these Lexus F cars is the 2UR GSE. It is a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, and in the segment with cars that these are directly compared to, this is one of the most reliable power plants you can get in any performance vehicle to date. At its core, it is a 6-bolt main V8 engine. It's dead reliable, aluminum block, aluminum heads. Mechanically, main components, you're not going to have any issues. They are dead reliable. Now, there are things under here that you do need to be aware of. First and foremost, if you have an earlier build, ISF, GSF, RCF, or LC500, there was a recall on these high-pressure fuel pumps. You're going to see one here on this cylinder head, and then there's going to be one over here on this cylinder head. There was a recall on these for fuel leakage, which could potentially start a fire. So definitely, if you're looking at one, or if you just picked one up, go to NHTSA, the National Traffic Safety Highway Association, type in your VIN number, check for open recalls. If the recall's open, bring it to Lexus, get it done. The last thing you want is your beautiful new Lexus F car to catch fire because of a known issue that either you or the previous owner neglected to take care of. The next thing we're going to touch on goes without saying. This isn't really a Lexus F car specific thing. This is something you should be doing with any vehicle that you own. Change the oil. These cars call for a 5W30 oil. I always like to run full synthetic. I like Castrol Edge. That's my go-to. I change it every 5,000 miles or 6 months, whichever comes first. No questions asked. If the oil is clean when it comes out, I'll throw it in a bottle and I'll use it in my beater, which is an 07 Camry, the next time it's due for an oil change. So it's not a waste of the oil. You want to keep the lifeblood of your engine clean. You want to keep it free of moisture. And if you're doing a lot of just short drives, you're not getting these things up to temperature. No engine's going to like that. Moisture is going to build up in that oil, and unless you get it really hot on long trips, that moisture is going to stay in the oil. Definitely just change your oil. It's cheap. It's guaranteed insurance that your engine's not going to have any problems due to oil starvation, contaminated oil, or anything of the sort. All right, so we're going to switch gears here. We're going to move over to the cooling system. Up here is your coolant degas bottle. Obviously, your radiator's up front. You can see an upper hose here. There's a lower hose down there. These use Toyota Super Long Life coolant. It is coolant that comes from Toyota. It is pre-diluted, and it will look just like this. It's good stuff. It's all I use in my Toyotas because they were designed for use in Toyotas and Lexuses. These vehicles have a very common, and it's a very pain in the butt to fix, coolant leak, known as the valley plate coolant leak. I actually have a video on how to inspect your engine for the valley plate leak, so I will link that down below. But you're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for that. You're going to want to keep an eye on your coolant, make sure the coolant level is not dropping, and if it is, you're going to want to start looking for that leak. Now, one way to help prevent that leak, change your coolant. Coolant not only goes bad by mileage, it goes bad by age. It has various different anti-corrosive and anti-acidic additives in it, and over time those additives get depleted. So this is a 2016, it only has 35,000 miles on it, but when I bought it, one of the first things I did, also I have a video on that, I will link that down below. we went ahead and we serviced the cooling system. So I have fresh Toyota super long life coolant in this car, and I can rest assured that hopefully I do not have to do anything with my valley plate until I'm north of 100,000 miles. While we're on the coolant issue, let's talk about another elephant in the room here, and that is Toyota and water pumps. Any of Toyota's engines, the 2AZ-FE, the 4-cylinder, the 2GR-FE, the V6, the 2UR or the UR engine that is in the Tundra, they all have water pump issues. Definitely check your water pumps. It's super easy. Water pump is right down there. You can see that pulley right there. That is your water pump. When they go bad, they leak at the weep hole, and they will usually sling coolant up onto the belt, and you'll see a stripe of coolant here on the hood right around the area of the belt drive. So keep an eye out for that. If you smell coolant, if you see pink residue up on the front of your engine, it's probably your water pump. Just fix it. They're cheap, they're easy. Fix it. Now the 2UR GSC is a direct injected engine, but it's not direct injected in the sense that it is strictly direct injected. This is a V8. It has 8 cylinders in 2 banks. So you have 4 cylinders here and 4 cylinders here. However, they have 16 fuel injectors. There are 4 port injectors, 4 direct injectors. So that's 8 injectors on each side. That totals 16. The idea with that is the car can switch between port and direct injection, or it can use both to atomize the fuel better and create better power. You can run higher compression with direct injected engines, and this is in fact a high compression V8. Now, with that, you don't really have as much of an issue with carbon buildup as you would a straight direct injected engine, because you still have the port injectors washing those intake valves. However, that is not the end-all be-all solution to prevent carbon buildup. There's 2 things you need to do if you own one of these cars with this engine to completely eradicate carbon buildup. You need to run an oil catch can. This happens to be an RR Racing unit. I have an install video on this. Again, I'll link it down below. Check it out. And then you also need to run RR Racing's intake tube. What this intake tube does basically is it deletes the breather that goes from each valve cover and into the intake hose to prevent hydrocarbons and carbon buildup from getting into the intake through your throttle body. This is going to keep your throttle body clean. It's going to keep your intake clean. And this oil catch can is going to catch any oil vapors that are coming in through the PCV system. And if you look at my video from when we installed this, there was actually a ton of oil buildup in the intake that we actually got to see. It was in the nipple for where the PCV valve goes in. So this is definitely a worthwhile upgrade. It's going to give you cooler exhaust gas temperature, intake air temperatures. It's going to completely eradicate oil vapors getting into the intake, and it actually relocates your breather to back here. So your breather will be right here on the back of the engine, and life will be good. Now to top it off, I would also run RR Racing's heat shield here. This just prevents heat from in the engine bay from getting sucked into the engine when the secondary intake opens up at 3,500 RPM. It's going to suck in nice cold air from behind the fender instead of hot air from inside of the bay. Now last but not least, while we're under the hood of this GSF here, we're going to talk spark plugs. It's an 8-cylinder. You have 8 spark plugs, 4 on each side. They use iridium spark plugs. Usually you can get away with going about 100,000 miles on iridiums, but this is a high performance engine. The way I drive it, at least, it sees red line multiple times a day. I'm going to be doing these spark plugs at 60,000 miles. So we are going to be replacing them earlier than most would. That's just the way I would do it. That's all I can say, that I'm going to do mine at 60K. You don't have to. I would if I were you. So next up, we're going to talk drivetrain, transmission, differentials, things like that. This uses an 8-speed Aisin automatic transmission. Aisin is partially owned by Toyota. Their units are usually damn near bulletproof, but that does not mean that they don't need service. Just because they run Toyota WS Trans Fluid, which is a lifetime fluid, does not mean you don't need to change it. Change your transmission fluid, people. You don't have to drop the pan and change the filter. You should never have to change the filter on an automatic transmission. If there is enough clutch material in that filter to clog it, you have a lot more issues going on than just needing a service. So drain your trans, refill it. I'm gonna do this one at about 45,000 miles. I would definitely do it before 60, and then whenever you do it again the next mileage. So if I'm doing this at 45, the next time I would do it is at 90. It's simple, easy. I'm gonna do a video on it, and it's cheap. Relatively speaking, the fluid's kind of expensive, but it's a lot cheaper than putting a transmission in the car. Now, I don't know that I want to call this a problem. This is more of a trait of this vehicle, and it is something that I've noticed. I've asked other F owners about, and they all notice it. And this issue or trait is accentuated when the engine is cold. These transmissions in these cars, that's the AA80E Aisin, they're noisy, they whine, especially when the engine's cold. You're gonna hear a whining noise from under the hood or in the trans tunnel of the car, and that is completely normal. It is just the transmission pump making a little bit of noise with that thicker fluid because it's cold and it's thicker. Viscosity increases as temperature decreases. So it's normal. Mine does it. A bunch of other people that I've asked, theirs does it. And there are no adverse effects of this. The transmissions just whine. Now, if you have a GSF or an RCF, your vehicle may be equipped with the torque vectoring differential. How you'll know is if you come here, look in your center console, you'll see a TVD button. When you click that, you can change modes. You have track, you have normal, and you have, I think, like snow mode or something like that. I don't even remember what the modes are. But on either side of the differential, instead of like for example, the ISF uses a Torsen limited slip differential. They don't have torque vector units. These do. So on either side of the differential, there's little clutch packs. They're like little miniature transmissions. And again, they use Toyota WS Trans Fluid. Whenever you do your trans, just go to the back of the car, do a drain and fill on them. I have a video up on that. I actually did them, and I have the fluid here to do the transmission. We're not there yet. But definitely make sure you service them. And while you're servicing those torque vector units, do a drain and fill on that rear differential as well. We used Amsoil Severe Gear when we did ours. Again, I have a video on that. I'll drop that down in the video description below. Make sure you check it out. So next up, we're going to talk about the brakes. These are some very, very large Brembo brakes. Up front, we have a 15.5-inch rotor with a 6-piston caliper. And back here, I don't exactly know how big the rotor is, but we have a 4-piston fixed caliper. Everyone complains about how expensive these brake jobs are. I'm here to tell you, if you buy your stuff on Rock Auto from a known supplier, they're no more expensive than doing the brakes on a Camry, realistically. What we did here is we bought some dynamic friction rotors. They are a very well-known company, and they are coated, so they will not rust. And then we bought Brembo branded brake pads. Now the Brembo pads will actually come with new wear sensors for the front pads. So we were all in on this brake job for right around 250 bucks. We did the labor ourselves, and we did the Brembo brake job on a $92,000 car, brand new, for under $300. This stuff isn't hard, guys. It's not expensive. You can do it. I have a video, again, I'll link it down below. I walk you through the whole process. It's super easy. You don't have to pay the dealership $1,000 to use original equipment parts to replace these things. You buy the parts online from the original equipment supplier. For example, Brembo makes these calipers. And they make the brake pads for Toyota. If you look in my video, you'll see right on the back of the factory pad, it says Toyota Brembo right on it. Buy the Brembo pads on Rock Auto, 60 bucks. Rotors, they're pieces of iron. You can't mess up making a rotor. Dynamic Friction, well-known company. We didn't put junk on it, but we didn't put Lexus branded stuff on it. You're paying for the Lexus logo. And in fact, these Brembo brake pads produce less brake dust than the original equipment pads did. They may be a different composition, I'm not sure. But when it is time for us to do the rear brakes, we will do the same thing. We're going to be using Dynamic Friction rotors and Brembo pads. It's not time yet, but for example, here's my finger. That's original equipment. And that is the Brembo that I used in the front. You can see the difference. A lot less dust from these pads. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about here is inner tire wear on your front tires. Now, this isn't an F-car specific issue. This happens across the board with rear-wheel drive Lexuses or all-wheel drive. If you have an IS 250 or 300, that's all-wheel drive. They use a liquid-filled front lower control arm bushing, and that allows deflection left to right and front to back during braking, acceleration, and cornering. What that deflection does, in essence, is slightly changes the alignment of your front tires while that is happening. And what that causes is inner shoulder wear on your front tires. Let's go out in the shed. I'm going to show you the front tires and wheels that we removed from this car. So this right here is one of the front tires that we removed from this vehicle. And if you look right here, this is where the inner edge of the tire was. You can see just how much more wear there is on that inside edge than there is on the outside edge. I can't really show you the other front tire because it's brand new, so I got a nail in it, but you can see what I'm talking about here. So what we have here is the factory lower control arm bushing. This is actually liquid filled, so there's like a gel in here. And if you try to move this with your hands, it's not gonna move. It's, you know, it's stiff. But when you have a 4,000-pound car being supported by that bushing, it's going to deflect. So the fix for that is to run a polyurethane bushing on your front lower control arms. There's a couple of different people that make them. I personally went with Figs Engineering, but RR Racing also makes a great kit. Actually, theirs might even be a little bit better. I just wasn't aware of it when I purchased my Figs. But I am happy with the Figs. The thing is, when you do these, you need an alignment. Absolutely get them aligned. That way you have the full benefit of reducing your inner tire wear. And you're really not going to notice any more noise, vibration, or harshness in the front end of your car. And it's actually going to tighten it up. One of the things that a lot of people say about some of these Lexus F cars is the steering is a little bit dull when compared to something like a BMW M car or something like that. This fixes that issue. This thing is razor tight. It's nice and sharp. You turn the wheel, the car responds. There's no jelly movement. It's instant. Now, if you're anything like me and you plan on modifying your suspension like we are on coilovers, RR Racing coilovers, you're definitely going to want to replace your rear upper arms. From the factory, camber is not adjustable on these cars. And when you lower your car, you're tucking that wheel into the fender, and it's naturally going to want to camber in. We had a little bit over 2 degrees of camber in the rear of this car when we lowered it. So we went ahead and we replaced our rear upper arms. Again, I have a video doing that. These are one of the factory ones. But basically what happens is this portion here on the new ones, this is threaded. And you spin it or you tighten or loosen it, and it either makes the arm longer to push the top of the wheel out or shorter to pull the top of the wheel in. So right now in the back of this car, we have about 1.5 degrees of camber on either side. We are in spec, and we are now not going to have any weird tire wear in the back of the car either. All right, guys, I hope this video helped you. If anything, I hope this video helped show you just how reliable and bulletproof these Lexus F cars actually are. There's really not a whole lot of major issues that they have, and that is just because they are a Toyota Lexus product. If this were a video on a BMW M3 or an M5, it would be 2 hours long. We'd be talking about replacing rod bearings as a part of normal maintenance, and we would be talking about a lot of different issues that these cars just don't have. These cars might not have the performance of some of the newer F cars, but it's got a tried and true naturally aspirated V8. There's no supercharger to fail. There's no turbos to fail. There's no over-complicated, over-engineered crap that the Germans stick in their cars. It's just a little, it's not really little, but it's just a Japanese missile with a almost 500 horsepower V8 into the hood. So if this video helped you, if any of the videos that I'm linking down below help you, please like, share, and subscribe. It enables us to have this car. Without you guys watching these videos, this would not be in my garage, that would not be in my garage, and I wouldn't be where I am now. So again, please like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know how you're liking your F car. Let me know the things you've done. If I missed any common problems, definitely let me know. I'll remake this video, or I'll sticky your comment, and we'll make sure we let some other people know about it. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.